Coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show. So what happens when you have a roof problem, a leak, you need a new roof, and your insurance company turns you down? Is there some sort of recourse? We will find out. Also, we've got a question from a listener who says she's now seeing ants crawling in her kitchen. She said she's heard us talk about it, but now she's got a problem. And while we're on that topic, we're going to look into how to prevent an insect infestation this spring and summer. Hi, everybody. Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team at RE/MAX Properties East. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got a great show, and with us on the show, Cora Henderson, who is one of the head folks over at Pitt and Frank Attorneys, LLC. You can get your home loan closed, because you can pick the closing attorney that you want. You can get it done at Pitt and Frank. 895-9900 is their number. And I've got to tell you some interesting facts about Pitt and Frank that happened this week. Also with us, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They come in as a team, they get the job done as a team, and you get your report that's beautifully put together, pictures written up. It's fabulous. Home Team Inspection Service, 844-411-TEAM. And Brad also happens to own Team Bug Out. So if you have a problem with a pest like an ant, Team Bug Out may be the place to call, 844-411-TEAM. And I'm Bob Sokoler. I own the Sokoler team at RE/MAX Properties East. There's no home too big, no home too small. We list and sell all of them. It's been a busy week, actually past couple of weeks. If you'd like to sell your home or even just talk about it, free, no obligation, I'll come out. It's me. We talk. I work both in Louisville, surrounding counties, and southern Indiana as well. You can reach me on my cell phone to set up an appointment at 376-5483. That translates into 376 Live. Or you can go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form. And if you'd like a free, no obligation, instant analysis of what your home is worth, it's computerized. You can go to wesellouisville.com and click on the top of the page. Quickly, Cora, I have to tell you, this past week, 2 of my clients required that we close their loans at Pitt and Frank Attorneys, LLC. I thought that you'd want to know that. They've had great experiences in the past, and they want to make sure they have a great closing. And so they required that we close it at Pitt and Frank. So
that's wonderful news. Thank you so much for sharing. And I knew you had the smartest clients.
Yes, they're really good people. So let's get into this, because we got a lot of questions here. And again, we'll talk about insect infestation in just a bit. And if you want to see a rebroadcast of this show, actually see it, not only hear it, in addition to being on the radio, we also put everything over at YouTube. You can get there and see it by going to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. All right. Tony, this is for Cora over at Pitt and Frank. Tony purchased a new home in September of last year. It was a home built by a national builder. He's having problems now with his microwave oven and was told to call the company that made the oven for service. I'm not going to give out the name of it, but it's they own it, the company. And that company says the microwave is out of warranty. So, Cora, here's what is Tony's thought process is in this email he sent us. He says he thinks the builder purchased the appliances before he purchased the home, and now he says he's actually paying a penalty for it being out of warranty because he's going to have to pay for a service call. And he wants to know, is there any recourse? What would you suggest? Anything on that?
Oh, that's very, very interesting. So a couple other important tips. One, I would ask that he look into the limited home warranty that should have been provided to him from the builder at closing. I think get out that piece of paper, read to see what other warranties may or may not be established that could or could not, apply to the microwave or any other appliance for that matter. Might be unlikely that it would stretch the appliances, but nonetheless, it's a good spot to look. Secondly, and as you well know, Bob, if you're working with a real estate agent, irrespective of whether it's new construction or an existing home, home warranties, limited home warranties, especially for the first year of home ownership, is very common. So I would just check back with your real estate agent or on your closing package to see if you do have a limited home warranty. And there's some other usual suspects out there that issue those home warranties outside of that builder's home warranty that you may have received that you could call to get some coverages on. Lastly, I think that's a really interesting point that it could have been purchased maybe in bulk or, not really sure how that got moved around. So as to whether or not there could be recourse, maybe I think it's always worth a ask to go back to the builder just to see, given your frustration, if that's something they'd be willing to do. After all, the microwave is probably the most affordable appliance. Although if you're anything like me, you use it regularly, so it's an important one. But nonetheless, that is the upside, is it's very affordable. They're largely available, whether you go to Target, Amazon, whatever the case may be, and you may be able to replace that very inexpensively, as opposed to, if the builder doesn't want to participate in replacing that, having to, play that out in an adversarial setting. So that's the good news. It may not cure your frustration, but I do know the importance of a working microwave. So check your closing paperwork for builder's limited home warranty, any additional home warranty, and then it never hurts to ask.
Yeah, if your builder is a member of the Home Builders Association, or what it used to be called the Home Builders, they've changed their name. But here in the Louisville area, there should be a packet that came with it that is a 1-year warranty, and it's probably covered. It's just you need to find out. And the takeaway for anybody who's listening to us or who have friends or relatives who you could get in contact with, if they bought a home in the past year and the 1-year period is not up as of yet, you want to tell them about this and have them call their builder and find out, hey, when was that package of appliances or even the HVAC purchased, and when does the warranty expire? Know this up front so you're not left on the outside looking in if there's a problem within that first year of your appliance. And Brad, you have anything on that to add? Because I know you inspect these things. You might have a quick add to that.
No, the only thing that I would say is that on some of those microwaves, they are built in, so they can be a little bit more complicated than just quick trip to the big box store. So
absolutely, that's where they get you with the trim kit. It looks beautiful, but it's an extra piece that may not be as readily available.
Right, yeah.
All right. Brad Lawler, Home Team Inspection Service. Christian has a new home with a geothermal system.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people buying new homes this year because there are not as many resales out there. And so Kristen has heard us talk about cleaning the outside motor. Is it a condenser on the outside we talked about a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, outside motor assembly, when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago to keep it working in best condition. And then he started looking outside, looking for that condenser. He says he couldn't find it.
No.
So he's wondering, do geothermal systems not use outside cooling systems?
No, geothermals are using the ground for all that evaporative cooling and heating. So they're a completely different setup. And the one thing I will tell you is that if you own a home that has a geothermal system, make sure that you're working with an HVAC company that has some knowledge and some areas of specialization in geothermal, because they can be, a lot of people will work on because they look like they're a relatively simple system, but the HVAC tech really needs to know what he's doing. They're great systems, last a long, long time, but they need to be maintained by someone who's got the knowledge and expertise to work on them.
So on that note, is there anything that Christian or anybody else who has a geothermal system, LaDonna and I have one in the house that we bought in Norton Commons last year. Is there anything that we should be doing to keep them in top operating order?
Just keep the filters changed out. It's same type of setup. The setup on a new home, Bob, you probably know this, but the thermostats work a little bit differently. So you need to make sure that the thermostat was set up correctly for the system. Again, this is important to have someone who knows that system doing it, and then just getting it serviced twice a year. I mean, that should take care of almost all of the challenges that you would face.
Got it. And one of the things you want to do, if you don't have a reliable HVA system, a company that services them, is to go look at online reviews to make sure. You Google the name of the company or Google reviews for HVAC companies and look for the ones that have a good rating from their clients, because let's face it, you want to make sure you have a good experience as well. Yeah. And I'm telling you that because what I'm about to tell you is something that we're very proud of, and that is our reviews ourselves. And we really do think we do a good job, but you can tell by going to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com. Those are redirects to our reviews, both on Google and on Zillow. Cora Henderson, the next question is going to require help from you, but possibly Brad as well. And we've got an outside source on this to help. Karen owns a home and is thinking about selling this year, but one or more of those recent storms we all had here, the heavy rain, remember, destroyed her roof. She has asked her insurance company to get a replacement roof, but they sent somebody else and they've turned her down. They said that she does not meet the requirements for insurance to cover the replacement of the roof. Meanwhile, she says other homeowners on her block have received new roofs, and still others have had patch jobs on the roof that got hit by the storms and the high winds. And she's wondering, is there anything she can do to try to force the insurance companies to pay for a new roof? Cora, let's start with you. What are your thoughts?
So my thoughts are, and first of all, Karen, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I can tell you in my subdivision, there's just sign after sign after sign in everybody's yards. We got some pretty significant hail damage back in March, but nonetheless, I would go back to your actual insurance policy. I'm not sure if you went straight directly with a carrier or you have more of a relationship with the insurance agent or broker directly. I think that they could and should provide you with some additional education and tutelage on what is in your policy. Unfortunately, and unbeknownst to you, it may not cover a full roof replacement. So really just understanding why they're rejecting. Is it because that coverage is not there on the full roof replacement, or is it because they deem that your roof is not in that bad of a condition? If it's the condition standpoint, then I would see there's a lot of very qualified roofing companies here in town, and I would have them come out and take a look, and many of them will do that at no cost to just take a look to see if they concur with that. It wouldn't hurt if you have a qualified professional who does identify areas that would clearly meet that standard and then resubmit to that insurance adjuster for, another approval. And perhaps that there was kind of a human error made and the damage was significant enough to call that roof replacement into effect.
So I reached out to Teresa Holthauser, who's a friend, and she's with American National Insurance, and asked her what would she suggest to our audience. Folks, grab a piece of paper and a pencil. Again, you can also watch this over again and jot it down over at the LouisvilleAnswers.com is where the redirect is. So she says, Teresa knows her stuff. She says, first ask the insurance company why you were denied. Then talk to a well-known roofer. And by well-known, you don't want the fly-by-nights that are coming through your neighborhood. You want people who are in the community. And again, you want to find out, maybe from friends. You can call me. I've got some roofers that we work with on a regular basis, and bring that roofer out, get documentation on why it should be replaced, actual written up documentation of what the problems are. And then if you get pictures, because that's also important, circle in the pictures where the problems are. And then if you submit that once again to the insurance company and they deny you again, here's the important part. File a formal appeal with the insurance company, and then as a last resort, go to the Kentucky Department of Insurance. I'm going to give you 2 telephone numbers in a moment. The Kentucky Department of Insurance, and file a complaint against the insurance company. The numbers you want to jot down to call to find out what that procedure is for filing a complaint is 502-564-3630. That's 502-564-3630, or there's a toll-free number, 800-595-6053. That's 595-6053. I think that'll help you and at least move it along. It's good information, whether you have a problem now with the roof and your insurance company, or in the future, have it at hand, because you never know when that's going to happen. We're going to take a break. When we come back, how to prevent a home infestation of your property this spring and summer. Sticking with us until the top of the hour, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. You can reach him at 844-411-TEAM. Also, Cora Henderson, Pitt and Frank Attorneys. You can reach them at 895-9900. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I would love to help you. You can reach me anytime. No home too big, no home too small. And I work all over the area. You can reach me at 376-5483. 548-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Or go to WeSellLouisville.com for a free estimate of what your home is worth via our computer. Or you can also go to BobSellsLouisville.com and fill out the form. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you till the top of the hour. Thank you for staying with us on this Sunday morning. And continuing with us, Cora Henderson, one of the top people over at Pitt and Frank Attorneys, LLC. You can reach them to get your loan closed and many other things. You can reach Cora at 895-9900. Also, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service and Team Bug Out. They do a great job of inspecting your homes, and you can pick the person you want for your inspection of the house you're going to buy. And also, if you need service for your pests that are in there, the little critters that are crawling around, 844-411-TEAM. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, you can reach me to come out free, no obligation, no home too big, no home too small. I come out, we talk, and come up with a plan for you. You can reach me at 376-5483. That's 376-LIVE. Or go to BobSellsLouisville.com and fill out the form. Or you can go for a free estimate of what the home is worth. Go to WeSellLouisville.com and click on the top of the page. All right, Brad, you may want to jump in on this. We got them coming. Home, my God, they come in. They just do a number on our homes. They're crawling. They're creepy. Ugh. No. So how do we prevent insect infestation? So I'll give you the topic heading, and Brad, you follow up on it. Okay. Let's start with eliminate standing water.
Love it. Get rid of it. That's going to help with mosquitoes primarily, but are we going to talk about moisture damage
we are.
to property too later?
Okay. Next, seal entry points.
Yes. So pest control is really pest management, and it's all starting with physical barriers. Seal up those cracks, get those weather stripping replaced, door seals, screens if you've got holes in them. Everywhere that you've got a hole on the outside of your house is an entry point for insects. That's where pest control begins.
Maintain landscaping.
Yep. Don't get a lot of leaf debris. That's a place where insects will breed. The other thing is make sure you don't have plants touching your house. So no vines on the house, no trees touching the house. Keep a gap between your house and anything that is green and growing.
Use pest repelling solutions.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of pest repellents. But yes, I mean, there's a place for repellents, but it's something you're going to have to replace a lot in order to give any effectiveness from them.
Monitor and remove pests early, so keep an eye out for them.
Yeah, you want to hit them early. When you start seeing one or two ants in your house, those are scouts that are trying to find different food sources, different water sources. So you want to make sure that when you do start seeing them, you don't wait until the full trail of thousands of ants has moved into your kitchen.
Yeah, so sign of one means you got problems.
Yeah, they're coming. Yeah.
And then the moisture issue that you were talking about, remove moisture presence in the home.
Yeah, right. Because anything that's got water in it, that's what an insect needs. So when you think about, when we're doing like wood destroying insect inspections, we're looking for what are called conducive conditions. And so if you've got a leaky water pipe, that's going to be a great place for all sorts of insects to find. So wet wood, damaged sill plates, your basement, you might see those, sitting up on top of the concrete. If you've got water in any of those areas, make sure it gets dried out, because otherwise those are places that insects will get set up and start doing a lot of damage.
All right. Those are some of the things to help prevent those insects from coming into your home. Back over to our questions. Again, you can email me a question, Bob, at WeSellLouisville.com. They come in, we put them on the air. It's that simple. Tell me whether you want me to use your name or not. Stephanie said we could use her name. She says, Cora Henderson over at Pitt and Frank LLC. Her mom passed away, and we're sorry to hear that, in January. Left no will, but an outstanding mortgage on the family home. She says there was some outstanding credit card balances, but no creditors have contacted her yet. So Stephanie is now asking us, and I guess you, Cora, what happens to the house and her mom's debt that she has?
Well, Stephanie, so sorry for your loss. It sounds like you're asking, very common questions during this time, and we could probably make an hour-long show on, unpacking all of those questions. So try to keep it brief here. I will say that in order to move the real estate, we would need to consider a couple of different items, especially being that, your mother died without a will. So she died what we called intestate. Probably what's going to happen, and the easiest way to sell the real estate is probably going to be to open probate or open an estate on behalf of your deceased mother. And then that would also allow an opportunity to take inventory of all the assets, also understand all the debts, and get all of that paid in so that ultimately, including the sale of real estate, if that's your wish, ultimately whatever's left will be paid out to the beneficiaries and the estate will be closed. Now, there are some caveats there as to, what are there other assets? What does that look like? Are you the sole heir? What is intestate descent and distribution under Kentucky law state? Who would be the heirs to the property in order to consummate a real estate transaction? I can get really down in the weeds in a rabbit hole real fast. So, would be delighted to walk you through that and what your situation looks like offline. But I think, it all depends whether you had a will, didn't have a will, opened an estate, didn't open an estate. But the creditor's rights actually for an intestate, when there's no probate open, those creditor's rights last for 2 years. So it's quite a long time. So I know that it's just been a number of months. So I didn't want, I certainly don't want to poo-poo any encouragement here, but, there could be other good reasons why we want to look at the estate just to make sure we have finality for all of those types of matters in addition to the real estate.
And I will give Cora's number out for you and for anybody else who may have some questions about wills, because Pitt and Frank does do wills, and Cora can have
Certainly. Highly encourage everybody to have a will.
Yep, absolutely. We'll give her our number out in a sec. All right, I think we have time for this one question. And actually, I have a personal stake in this one. Benny sent an email, but I also know my wife, LaDonna, has a condo down in Florida, and she just recently had to replace the hot water heater in the condo. She has it rented. And I guess she was telling me that her condo association requires that her condo maybe have a water heater replaced every 10 years. Benny is asking the same thing, that the water heater has to be replaced.
That sounds more like a condo association rule. The water heaters will last longer than that. However, I think what they're doing is risk mitigation, make sure that you don't have leaks.
That's why I'm nodding. Oh, yeah. You're picking up what I'm laying down.
Right. Yeah. Because that, when a water heater fails, it often causes a leak, which then becomes a bigger disaster for everybody else around. That's probably why they have a timing on them. Because a water heater today, you get 10, 12, maybe 15 years out of them. So 10 years probably, makes sense to replace it preventively before you have a failure and a water damage claim.
So Cora, what do you know about this? Is this a common issue here in the Louisville area?
I don't know that it's a common issue. It just seems somewhat reasonable, to be frank. And I think that's, again, from a risk mitigation, and certainly just to help preserve what funds are available, and the livelihood kind of there of the condo association, so they don't have to give out special assessments. Because if those water heaters are in disrepair, if they do get old, it becomes a nightmare. If you've ever seen pictures, it's a complete disaster. And with the flooding, that could create situations where there will be repairs required on parts of the buildings in which the condo association is responsible for. So thereby, then it's going to tap in all the unit owners. And rather than saying, oh, well, you must buy this type of water heater and it has to be, this size, or, I think it becomes very difficult to generalize those requirements. So maybe they just decided 10 years is a safe amount for a preventative measure. Mm-hmm. So to me, it makes obvious sense. And it seems like they're just trying to keep any unnecessary costs down and to keep things in good repair, which I actually really appreciate, because we oftentimes talk so much about the disrepair of different condo regimes and balconies and the instabilities and all the things that you see on there, especially with Florida. So I kind of like the idea of let's make sure we're out in front of that so we don't have things where we have to grant special assessments to pay for.
Yeah, and I think that's really smart. And, I've never thought of that before. But the takeaway for anybody who owns a condo here in the Louisville area is to remember what LaDonna did in replacing her water heater at 10 years and what's required at her condo association down in Florida. But check with your condo association and see if there is a requirement for you to replace them every specific amount of time, because certainly what Cora says, it does make sense, because ultimately if there's a leak and there's a big payout and the insurance doesn't cover it, your condo association will, and that ultimately comes out of your pocket, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
We are out of time, folks. Well, this show went really fast. A reminder, if you'd like to see what sellers are talking about when we close a home on, we do this. I put a whole bunch of videos up on YouTube over the past years. Go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. That's LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. And also, one other thing, we've got an update for you. If you want to join our emails that we send out on a regular basis, newsletters go out, and this one is timely, and Brad, you'll appreciate this. The one that went out this week, A Buyer's Guide to Home Inspection Types. The types of home inspections when you sell a home or buy a home. Go to welovelouisville.com. That's welovelouisville.com. And then fill out the form there, and we'll put you on the list. My thanks to Cora Henderson, who is one of the head big shots over at Pitt and Frank Attorneys, LLC. They do a great job of getting your loan closed. And as you heard, other things, including wills. You can reach Cora anytime at 895-9900. Also, if you are in need of a home inspection, whether you're buying a new home, because you do want to have it inspected professionally. I've got one coming up, by the way, Brad, that I'm going to be referring over to you. Also, if you need to get your insects taken care of, if you're seeing ants, you can reach Brad for Home Team Inspection Service or for Team Bug Out at 844-411-TEAM. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the future, I'd love to help you. Simple, free, no obligation. I come out, we talk, and it's me. I come out, we spend as much time as we need to review what the process is. You can call me to set up an appointment today, even today. 376-5483 is my number. I'll go to 376 Live. And you can email me, go to bobsellslouisville.com, and then fill out that information. And you can also get a free home estimate by going to WeSellLouisville.com. That's a computerized instant analysis of what your home is worth. We're out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.